To the LinkedIn magic, the professional network where all people are serious, but no one really is.
Hormozi released his views on how he sees LinkedIn content and LinkedIn outreach. As someone who is specialized with LinkedIn outbound, and we have generated over 500 bookings for only one company, I'll be giving you my inputs. This video that we're going to be watching for Hormozi, it has been released around a year ago. A lot has changed when it comes to the algorithm, when it comes to the limitations for outbound. So I'll be giving you the updates and how to really navigate through the limitations. We'll be talking a bit about everything when it comes to LinkedIn so you can potentially get more results. With that said, let's get into it.
Let's break down how much money this platform actually makes. And I think it will surprise you. And I have changed my view on LinkedIn. Who's on LinkedIn? Now, this one may surprise you. 53% of households over $100,000 are on LinkedIn. So this is double TikTok, like we were talking about earlier. Now, the next question is,
to go deeper into the who, I think most people have LinkedIn. Most people have a LinkedIn account, but the people that are active on these LinkedIn accounts are the people that run their own business to prospect, maybe salespeople, people that are in business development to outreach, set appointments, etc. And they're the freelancers. So even though it's 53% of households, which is, by the way, that's a really large number, most of the people that are really active on this platform are the people that I've just mentioned.
Talk about earlier. Now, the next question is, how many people in the United States are on LinkedIn? And this one was kind of surprising to me. It was 30%. So I actually thought it'd be way lower than that because I figured no one uses LinkedIn.
In terms of how many, to be more specific, I believe right now it's around 1.1 billion. Instagram is around the 3 billion mark, but the reason why people go towards LinkedIn and pick this as their main channel is because they're running a B2B business. If someone is running a B2C business, maybe they're selling something that's $20, $50, etc. I don't recommend LinkedIn. But if you are selling something that's B2B, that's thousands and thousands of dollars worth of service, maybe tens of thousands, a million, then doing outreach through LinkedIn is honestly the best thing for you. It doesn't have the highest number of people in general, but it has the highest number of stakeholders relative to the overall number.
It turns out a lot of people use LinkedIn, just not as much as you'd think in terms of per day. And so the average amount of time spent on LinkedIn per day per LinkedIn users is about 7 minutes. So way lower than a lot of the other platforms.
So this is an interesting fact. At the same time, I'm not surprised. I think that he's talking about the overall average. To tell you about myself, I spend hours and hours on LinkedIn. I spend maybe 3 hours per day on LinkedIn on average. Even on weekends, I spend some time on LinkedIn just to talk to people, talk to potential clients, talk to the clients themselves. So the 7 minutes is a general number, but the people that are very serious on LinkedIn and want to get something out of it spend way more time, 100%. They probably spend hours, just like on Instagram. I believe on Instagram it's around 30 minutes.
So let's talk about growth. So growth for me and growth for you should probably be incredibly important, because if the point of advertising is to let people know about your stuff, you want platforms that let way more people than already know about you know about your stuff. And so I give LinkedIn a medium to high, and I'll explain why. So LinkedIn is super shareable and very connection driven. And so the part that I would say is high about it is that there's a lot of people who share on LinkedIn. It's very common to share stuff. It's kind of like a sharing culture. And when you create high value stuff, people want the association with that value, and then they share publicly because it makes them look like they've got, they're thought leaders. Now, the flip side is the reason that I still have this medium anchor is that because it's connection driven. So think about it like a hinge. So if you have 10 people, a lot of your posts will get shown to people who are friends with your connections, right? So it's like so-and-so is friends with so-and-so who made this post, right? And so
let me give you a quick comment about this. So I've been in the LinkedIn game for around 2 years now. There are lots of funny stuff happening around LinkedIn. LinkedIn's algorithm is way different than any other platform. All platforms generally reward early engagement. This is common among all of the platforms, but when it comes to LinkedIn, it's just, let's say you are connected to 500 people and you comment on one of my posts this gets reshared to your connections. This is how most of the spread and most of the distribution works when it comes to LinkedIn. So a lot of people create networks and create LinkedIn pods. So when they post, they send it on a group and then they get lots of engagement. I'm not gonna recommend or not recommend you to do this. I believe that if you want to do this, it has to be genuine and it has to be within a circle that you truly value. For example, John is in marketing and I'm in sales, and I'm a person that's interested in marketing. I'm generally gonna like what he's doing. So if you ever form this kind of relationship with people where you start engaging with each other's posts, try to do it with someone who you truly value, who you want to learn from. Otherwise, you're going to lose your credibility and it's not a good look.
In the beginning, it can be harder for you to get started because you might have only a few connections. And so let me give you a tip on this. Right now, wherever you went to high school, wherever you went to college, if you went to college, wherever you work, all of these places are very customary to have LinkedIn profiles. And by the way, I would strongly encourage you to at least put one up there that looks like you exist, because from a professional setting, I'll tell you some of the big benefits that I get that are not on this list that have been worth it for me. But you can get your first 500 connections. And the nice thing with LinkedIn is they just say 500 plus. So it's not like you have to think like, oh my God, I need millions and millions of people. Like, you max out your personal connections at 500.
While that is true, it only shows 500 plus and I'm connected with thousands of people. It also benefits you when you have a higher follower count. So when you enable this option to show your followers, it's going to add even more credibility for your profile.
So let's talk about depth real quick. Because there's no average view duration, we have no real stats on that. So let's get on to the drum roll.
For depth, to be honest, LinkedIn is a short form platform. So there's not much depth. If we want to talk about depth, YouTube has the highest depth out of all of the platforms. Maybe if we talk about live streams, this has lots of depth as well.
Of conversion. Now, LinkedIn, so think about like, TikTok is like a bomb or like a sprinkler, right? LinkedIn is like you've got a hose with a laser pointer on it and you can shoot whoever you want with it, all right? And so the conversion ability on LinkedIn is extremely high. All right, and I'm gonna talk about this in a couple different vectors. So number one is it's very high because there's a ton of sophisticated tools. LinkedIn is built for outbound, meaning you can get incredibly targeted with your searchability criteria for prospects. And so if you want to find hedge fund managers who are in this state and above this age, you can do that. And so LinkedIn has something called Sales Navigator that you can use. 40% of B2B marketers say that this is their primary channel for getting customers. So like, do not sleep on the ability. Now, mind you, LinkedIn ads, shaky, some people make them work. LinkedIn content overall will help you convert when you do DMs, but this is an outbound monster. All right, and relative to the following count that you have on LinkedIn, your ability to make money is probably the highest. So you can have the tiniest following and make the most money on LinkedIn because of how targeted you can be with your outreach and how easy it is to message someone who engages with your content. And before I move on to results, I want to give you a little hack here for the growth. One of the biggest...
All right, before he moves on to the next point. So in terms of conversion, as I mentioned, I've been in the LinkedIn game for over 2 years now, around 2 years. I have been posting and doing outbound. In terms of content, I have cracked what gets a lot of impressions. So in 1 month, I'll add like a statistic here, or I'll show the graph. In 1 month, I got around 400K impressions, but those impressions did not mean anything. I think they got me 1-2 leads. It really wasn't anything meaningful. So in terms of LinkedIn content and focusing on content to generate leads, this has not worked well for me. I know some creators that only rely on content to generate leads for themselves. But for me personally, this has not worked for me very well. What has worked really well for me and has booked me hundreds and hundreds of qualified meetings with CEOs that are making millions of dollars for their business is the outbound, just like Hormozi mentioned. So Sales Navigator, if you don't have Sales Navigator, for the love of God, if you're selling something high ticket, it's honestly the best thing that you can invest in if you're selling anything when it comes to B2B. You have all of these filters and you can really hyper target your outreach. There is not a single tool. Maybe you'll tell me Apollo has similar filters. Yes, but Apollo, when you extract all of this data, you need to use email, for example. And email is not as trustworthy as LinkedIn because LinkedIn has a profile behind it. It has you. People can see everything about you after you send the message, and when they identify everything about you, they determine whether they want to reply to you or not, and ultimately if they want to deal with you or not. So this is one thing. Another thing about outreach, or about content actually, as Hormozi mentioned, I post consistently every single day, as you can see here. I don't post to get leads. Hopefully I get leads. Why not get leads? But my purpose is to build the brand, is to put my face out there. I want people to see me. I want people to consistently see me in front of their face, because when I do the outreach, they are going to have a sense of familiarity. They know me, or at least somewhat know me, before I approach them. So this is going to increase my reply rate. It's going to increase my authority within the posts. I'm going to educate them about outbound, so they're going to trust me when it comes to outbound. So content is mainly for thought leadership and lead nurture.
Growth method you can be with your outreach, and how easy it is to message someone who engages with your content. And before I move on to results, I want to give you a little hack here for the growth. One of the biggest growth methods right now on LinkedIn is getting large accounts to comment on your stuff. And so if a large account comments on your thing, it gets shown to all of their following. And so it's a massive leverage point. Like, think about a comment almost as a collab.
By the way, there are businesses running this as a service. They have big accounts. I think they bought these accounts, and then they approached me many times like, hey, we saw that you are posting a lot, want more engagement, we do X, Y, and Z.
To attract those bigger accounts. And I'll tell you an easy hack for this. Write about them. Talk about how great this person is, or how great a particular piece of content they made is. Like, actually write something significant, and you have a high likelihood that they will say like, hey, thanks, or this was awesome. And the longer their response is, the more engagement draws to you. Like, there was a guy that made a post the other day, and I commented on it, and he had a small-ish following. And that post got, I think, like 50 times his average in terms of likes and comments after that, because I have a large following on LinkedIn.
100%, I agree with Alex. And actually, Alex commented on one of my posts. It went crazy. I think it got like 100 or 200k impressions. And this is one thing that you can do, but this is just short term. Like, if you write about Hormozi, for example, and he comments on your post, this one post will go viral. It will maybe get 100k impressions. Okay, that's nice. You may get sales, leads, etc. But how can you do this consistently? Will you keep writing about other people? I don't see this as a very feasible solution. But what you can do, you need to find those community-oriented large accounts. For example, Lara Acosta, Yasmin Alec. You can find similar accounts, of course, but there are certain big accounts that really rely on LinkedIn for their growth. Once you identify those people, try to be the first to comment on their posts. If you can buy their courses, go and buy their courses. Of course, they provide valuable stuff as well, so you'll have a benefit from there. But you need to be consistently in front of them so that they recognize you, they like you, they start seeing your content, and consistently comment on your posts so your post can go extremely viral.
He got to leverage basically the entirety of my audience by just making a piece of content that I found relevant. So drum roll for the results, and this will surprise you. Over 9% plus of my traffic to my site comes from LinkedIn. And the average session duration of these people is over 40 seconds. All right, so it's higher than every other platform besides YouTube. All right, so really strong intent from these people. Now, let me give you the 1,000 IQ move that is the reason that I like LinkedIn a lot. So for me, we have a portfolio of companies at acquisition.com. Right now, it's just under 10 companies. that do over $250 million a year in revenue. And so we constantly are recruiting high-level talent for our portfolio companies and for our holding company to acquisition. And so the biggest unspoken ROI that I get from LinkedIn and that Layla gets from LinkedIn is that our DMs are about recruiting. So we can go directly headhunt some of the best people in the world. And because we have followings, because they can look at the stuff we put out there, the response rates that we get are higher than any other platform for talent. And so if you want to get really amazing people, LinkedIn is going to be the big lever that you can use to grow your business by just getting the smartest people on your team. So
every single team member I have came from LinkedIn. And a lot of them, I saw them engaging on my posts. We had a short conversation and they had a skill that is relevant to something that I needed. Therefore, I ended up hiring them. So 100%, you can leverage your content and the people that engage on your content to hire the qualified people. And through Sales Navigator, you can also target people that you can potentially hire. So Sales Navigator is not only meant for lead generation, but also for recruiting talent and finding the best people for your business.
With all that being said, we've got a lot of people with money. We've got decent growth. We've got high conversion ability, high intent. And just to give you context on this 9%, it's about twice its weight based on the percentage of followers that I have on LinkedIn. So we get way more per follower than like TikTok, where I get 1/4 the amount of followers that actually translate into results.
And this concludes Alex's mindset about LinkedIn and how to really get the most out of it. With that said, if you're running a B2B business, I highly, highly recommend you to do outreach on LinkedIn, especially if you're a smaller business and don't have a lot of resources to invest into content, making such amazing content, or spending on ads. Do lots of outreach, hire people to do outreach for you. This is such a high leverage channel for you to do outbound on. And if you'd like to scale your business and you're running a B2B company that's selling high ticket items, we would love to help you.